Alright, so we're gonna play a very short sample game of Master of Magic here. And let's just jump right in. So I'm gonna only have one opponent. It's gonna be an easy game. The land size is not gonna be too big or too small. It's just gonna be in the middle. And this is how much power you get out of nodes. We'll talk about that when we get to it. Alright, so first of all I'm going to customize somebody. Let's customize Merlin. Alright, customize his name, customize his spell books. I think I can show most of the critical stuff. If I just take a little life and a little chaos, I'll have pretty much every kind of spell. I mean, generally speaking, I'll have global enchantments, unit enchantments, combat spells, so forth. We'll take a few different retorts here. Chaos, mastery. The masteries are good if you've got a lot in one of these. So it makes me research stuff faster, it makes my stuff cheaper, harder to dispel. It just generally makes me better at chaos spells. We'll take Archmage. I like Archmage, it's one of my favorites. It just gives me more magical muscle to throw around spells with. And since we're going to have more muscle, we'll want more mana. This is generally considered a pretty weak, subpar ability to pick. But so what? I can play the game any way I want. It's not like I'm competing in some national tournament or something. I don't need it. I don't need the most powerful build. Alright, so we'll go with all that. Now we get to pick a few spells we start the game with. If we picked more books, we could actually start the game with stronger spells. I should note, if you play the DLC, one of the big changes is that instead of starting with those, you're just guaranteed to learn them at the first opportunity. But anyway, for now, we'll start the game with... I think this is a pretty good set here. So... you can click on any of these to see what they do. Just right-click on them, and it'll give you a description. So, I'm pretty fond of, just because I wonder why healing specifies any non-death unit. It's impossible to have both life and death magic, so there's literally no... I can't imagine a circumstance where you could end up with a death unit to heal. Not in the base game, at least. Alright, so just cause... we'll talk about these spells when I use them. I'll use all of them. Meanwhile, in the Chaos Camp, I'll take a Fire Elemental, a Wall of Fire, and... each of these are interesting. Warp Wood to ruin Archer's days. Disrupt to just smash holes in castle walls. I'll take Corruption. I really don't like corrupting lands, but it's another type of spell that I should showcase. And I think I'm gonna play Lizard People. Because why not? It's better than Hideous Bug People, right? Alright, so I'm gonna put lizards up. I'm gonna pop in, I already prepared all of this, so if you ever forget what you have, what your build is, you can just look in the mirror here and see your build. So, there's that. We'll probably talk about a bunch of these as we go. For now, I start with a swordman and a spearman. This is pretty much standard for every race. You just get a swordman and a spearman of your species. So, we talked about all these. I'm just gonna assume you've seen the tutorial, okay? If you haven't, link in the description. Alright, so... you're starting building. Honestly, there's a lot of different ways you could go. You could go straight for a stronger military unit. Just immediately slap down an armory and start spitting out halberders. You could actually just immediately start spitting out swordmen. I wouldn't, but you can. And perhaps, a settler is a very good first choice, in my opinion. But, my favorite is just to go for a granary. I really like the bonuses that this gives as my first project. So I like to go economy first. So we'll just go with that. Now, something special about lizardmen is they actually, you can see their movement. Instead of a boot, it's a little wave here. That's because they can move across water. This means, that they can walk on water. This should also apply to rivers and swamps. I'm not 100% sure if that's only in the DLC. I think it was the base game. It applied as well. So, on our first move, I'm going to put everything into producing mana and turn all of my gold into mana. You might decide to do things differently. There's a ton of different play styles and strategies. For me, I just like to immediately make that first magic spirit as quickly as I possibly can. I also like to adjust the tax rate a little. This is about as much as I can get away with without having a rebel. And as soon as the population grows, I'll have to adjust it again. At this difficulty, we don't really need to optimize to that level, but if you're playing the game on the highest difficulties you can manage, you'll want to gun everything to the limit. First spell to research. Honestly, I don't really care. I guess I'll take Shatter. Summoning Circle's good too. We'll take Summoning Circle. Okay. So we have our scout. We're gonna go looking. We're gonna find good places to settle when we make our first settler. We're gonna find other cities to conquer. And we might as well snoop around some of these places. Now, you're not going to know what any of these monsters are or how strong they are until you've played the game some. You can probably guess that zombies are a low-end monster, whereas air elementals are probably a little bit stronger. And sometimes you'll just find an empty node with something in it. Yeah, that was nice. So we got a free spell without having to research it. Alright, this is good. Now look at this. We have gold. And we have a river. Unfortunately, there's a couple desert tiles. Oh man, you guys should have seen the original script I had for the tutorial. It was filled with things like right-click on the map to center the map to that point, or left-click and yeah, I cut it. I cut the script down. I cut the script down. I cut the script down. I tried to get it within 5 minutes at one point, and then I had to add more stuff. Anyway. Market is usually my second pick. It's good. You could definitely make an argument for Shrine to reduce the rebels and give you some magic, or Library for research, but I like to go Granary, Marketplace, Farmer's Market. This is my personal preferred strategy. I'm not going to pretend it's the best, just that it's mine. So, because the granary gives you 2 extra food, I can get away with cutting a farmer. I only need enough food to feed these 2 guys right now in my own population, so there's a certain level beyond which you're cut off. You see the little gap here? I'm not allowed to turn this guy into not a farmer. he always has to be farming, because every city is required to be self-sufficient. Rarely, usually when there's spells like famine in place, you'll have cities starving and the population declining. So we can get away with 2 workers and build that faster. We're gonna keep hunting around here. I definitely think my first settler's gonna go for this gold here. Oh, many demons! You can probably guess that that's not a place we want to go anytime soon. Skeletons. Alright, so we just had our population grow. Now we have a rebel. So we drag the taxes down and he's working again at the cost of only 1 less buck a turn. Seems good. Usually you'd put out a second magic spirit for more scouting. I would recommend that. But I want to show off some of the different spells here. So I'm going to start with Just Cause. This is a very interesting spell. It immediately gives you 10 fame, which is something I didn't describe in the tutorial, but we'll get into. And it reduces the unrest of all your cities by 1. So basically, having Just Cause in play lets you get away with stepping up your taxes. It lets you get away with just making more money from all your cities. It's real nice. Real good spell. Ah. Another spell. Usually you get some gold or mana crystals, but we're getting spells. Hey, I'm fine with that. Okay. A fire elemental. We'll describe more about these things when we get to raiding them. Okay. So, as I mentioned before, Just Cause basically means more taxes. Now, fame has to do with how likely you are to receive heroes, mercenaries, and merchants, and the quality of the kind of people approaching you. So I'll show what I mean when they start knocking on my door. 10 fame is honestly not a whole lot, but it's something. Particularly since we're just starting out. And it looks like we're on an island. I can see the hint of another island over here. Maybe they're connected, but I doubt it. I think we're gonna find that we're on... Oh, wait. The landmass keeps going. Alright. And the farmer's market. The farmer's market is like a souped-up granary. Be aware everything has a maintenance cost. The cost up here, I know it calls it cost, but this is actually how many hammers it takes to build. This costs 100. And right now we're producing 2, 4, 6, 8 hammers a turn, so we end up needing 13 turns. The DLC actually adds overflow for production, which is something I really wish the base game had. The DLC makes a lot of little improvements. I do recommend it, although it changes the game quite a lot. So you probably want to get used to the base game first. Another spell. I'm actually really surprised. It's unusual to get so many spells for free. Alright, so this was an island. One of the great things about the Magic Spirit, the reason it's the traditional opening move is because the Magic Spirit can go over water and explore everything. I'm gonna rush produce the rest of this building. I'm gonna make a shrine just to force this guy to get back to work. And thanks to the farmer's market, I'm able to turn off more farmers and make more workers. as well as our population growth going up. These, just between the granary and the farmer's market, you get a huge boost to your, just your economy. So, guardian spirits. I can summon those. So we actually have some idea of what these guys are. Really weak. They're like the weakest summon. Well, okay, that's not... Oh my gosh. Another one. Alright. This is the weakest summon in the game. But a Guardian Spirit's a close second. The Guardian Spirit's basically a bigger one of these. We'll discuss the nuances shortly. Alright, I suppose I should do some research. So this is another island. Now that I turned my mana production off, you can see I've still got Just Cause, which costs 3 a turn to maintain, and 1 Ghost, who costs 1 to maintain. See that upkeep cost? So every turn I've been spending 4 mana, and you can see it now that I shut this down. If I can't afford them, if I ever go down to 0 mana and I can't afford the upkeep, it'll all go away. Like, seriously, this will just vanish, the ghost will disappear if I can't pay their upkeep. I know that's the thing that really bites you in the butt. I would recommend as a new player, I'm just gonna do it. As a new player, always keep a positive mana income at all times, because you'll be careless, you'll not be paying attention, and everything will be gone. Just like that. Gone. And it's terrible. It's a way to I cannot believe this. Every place is a spell today. Oh, FYI, so I'm playing this on GOG, and I'm running the community patch. Let me take a moment to show this, because I think this should be an important piece of information. I don't know if I can open it like this. Okay, maybe I can't open it while the game is open. I bought it off GOG, and there's also a Steam version. I recommend playing with the community patch because it does a lot of bug fixes and stuff. I think that's just strictly superior to the base game without really changing anything. More Guardian Spirits. Because we're playing on easy, most of these are fairly soft. Fire Giants. I have yet to see a neutral city, though. Let's see. We're going to talk about resources once we get the settler out. Aha! Oh, there's some mana crystals. I have found someone. Hello! Oh, if it isn't Horus. Lawful. Lawful wizards will never attack anyone they're on good terms with. However, they react twice as strongly to unprovoked attacks. I believe that they never want to break pacts or alliances either. That you have to push them much harder before they'll break something, I think. The expansionist, see, there's a personality and an objective, and the two mix to determine how they're going to behave. The expansionist is primarily interested in expanding controlled territory. The wizard will expend considerable resources on settlers and new outposts. So you can run into all kinds of weird combinations. So he's gonna say hi. Let us live together in harmony. How nice of him. Alright. already got an expansion, so he's running barbarians. Barbarians are an aggressive early game race that has, they all have thrown weapons. Alright. So we just had an offer from a hero. This guy wants $100. You notice his movement is okay, I'm sure you probably can't tell what the hell this is. It's supposed to be a tree, alright? He can move through forests as fast as if they were empty fields, basically. So he has an upkeep of 2 gold a turn. He costs 100 gold. Here are his stats. And he can cast resist elements. Actually, he can cast any spell that I know, but since he's only got 5 MP, that's not going to do him much good. He'll have to level up before his spellcasting gets good. Scouting, and here's the forester thing about moving through forests really well. So he's a kind of a junk beginning of the game hero, but it's the beginning of the game, so, you know. Holy crap, another one. So he's gonna just kind of hang out in my capital for the moment. And we're gonna push our settler. Okay, so when you do a settler, you want to run a surveyor. This is my favorite tool. This might be my favorite tool in the game. And I wish more games had things like this. So, you can see here it says, cities cannot be built less than 3 squares away from another city. Alright, so we move out. If we were to build it here, the maximum population would be 15, and you can see some bonuses based on the terrains and stuff. So we want as high a population as we can possibly get. Mountains are obviously terrible for your city. I mean, they give you a production bonus. It's calculating all the squares around it. So basically, you see all these tiles? These are all this city's tiles. The maximum population, production, and gold bonus are based on this entire area here. You'll notice that the 4 corners are grayed. That's because they don't count. It's just 2 tiles out like this. It's a little cross formation kind of thing. So, that's what the surveyor is calculating off of. Now, I would like to build it here. But if I move over 1 tile, I can potentially have a seaport. That would mean that I would be able... Well, actually, lizardmen don't do that in the base game. Other races care about being able to build ships and merchants' guilds. Lizardmen, they can just move across water. They don't care. So, they don't actually need to be on the water. But every other race cares about that, and it's actually valuable to have a port. So we'll move here, because this gives us a nice population. And it gives us gold, which you can see gold ore plus 3 gold. Just having this in my city radius means I'll be getting $3 a day. Silver is 2. Coal reduces... You basically can produce your military faster. There are other resources. I don't see iron, but... oh, wait, no, here's iron. It's half as good as coal. Mithril. +1 magic power per turn is the only thing it tells you, but there's a secret bonus to having mithril. If you can produce a certain building in your city, you'll be able to outfit all the soldiers made in that city with mithril weapons and armor. It would basically add +1 sword and +1 shield. There are even more powerful resources in the Mirren Plain, but we won't be talking about the Mirren Plain today. Not really much. They have adamant in the Mirren Plain. Adamant! Okay, you can see that the settler just walks across the water because they don't care. They just swim. I don't know how they bring all their supplies in wagons with them, but I'm sure they figured out a way. Now, we could produce more settlers and make more cities, but it's easy mode. I don't need to. For the purposes of this tutorial, I think I'm just going to build a library and keep going. So, in fact, okay, you see how this is 240 bucks? I want to show you an odd quirk about Master of Magic. I don't know why it is, but now that we've taken a little bite out of it, it's only 141 bucks. Yeah, I don't know why, but that getting just one little bit of production dramatically reduces the cost. For some reason. Ah, 50 mana crystals. Here's another resource. Wild game, +2 food. You just get +2 food for having it. Alright, so now we've got spell research. You can see all kinds of different stuff. This is that gold bonus it mentioned. Unfortunately, lizardmen are incapable of producing engineers. Otherwise, I'd build a road. But if you've ever played Civilization, you know how roads work. Every city you connect with roads will give you a bonus to your income. So you want to connect roads to as many cities as possible because you get money. It's just a shame lizardmen just don't make roads. I don't know. Lizardmen don't build a lot of things. This race, they can't build Animists guilds, war colleges, builders halls, sages guilds, parthenons, shipwrights guilds. But these buildings lead to other buildings. So when it says they can't build a builder's hall, that means that they can't build anything that a builder's hall leads to, which is a ton of stuff. Without a sage's guild, you can't get an alchemist's guild or a wizard's guild. And the alchemist's guild is, it outfits all the troops you make with magical weapons, or if you have mithril weapons, or if you have adamant. You get the idea. Alright. So, we are now going to start going the military route. We could make Shaman. Okay. So you might notice that Shaman have an extra stat that swordsmen and spearmen do not. Oops. So range is a ranged attack they can shoot. And specifically, they're not using bows or rocks. They're using magic. Now, it's not a very strong magical attack, but that's okay. Because they're also a medic that makes your units heal faster outside of battle, and they can purify corrupted tiles. Anyway, we're gonna go for even stronger units, though. We're gonna skip them and rush to high-end stuff. Easy mode sure gives us a lot of freebies. Usually you don't get very many of those. Unfortunately, settlers have to eat, so we're gonna have to... Oh, and we got another rebel. Great. Alright. So, halberdiers. For the same maintenance cost per turn as a swordsman, they're stronger. The swordsmen have a large shield which protects them from arrows and stuff. And breath weapons, I should note. Whereas halberdiers they negate first strike. Specifically, cavalry tend to have first strike. Cavalry are pretty much the only things with first strike. And this just makes them good against cavalry, basically. And they're just generally pretty tough. But they're not good enough. We want stronger units! So, the Fighters Guild, basically all of my troops that I produce will come into play with a level up. I'll be able to make Javelineers, one of my all-time favorite units, and we'll be able to build an Armorer's Guild. So, we're going to talk about the level up soon. Alright. So we're settling the city, but unlike other games like Civilization, the city isn't instantly built. So this has to fill up, and then the city is founded. And then we have a city. If anything bad happens to it, like it gets attacked by anything, it'll just be burned. Well, I guess I should say not attacked, but if you don't have troops to defend it, it's just burnt. It can't be captured. Worse, if this settlement can fail, it can straight up fail to work. If you try to build like in a desert or, in a vast mountain range, it's far more likely to fail. Since this city was built next to a river with grass and stuff all around it, it's pretty much guaranteed to succeed. A maximum population of 18, this one will not fail. I don't think it's possible to fail at that level. I've never seen it happen. But, a max population of 9, this could fail. A maximum population of 7, okay, that's getting pretty bad. We don't have anything particularly horrible around here, but I've seen unbelievable deserts and mountain ranges and stuff. And at the very edges of the map, I'll show you where the tundra is. Yeah, you can't build cities in the Frostlands, they'll always fail. I can maximize for one more worker, so I will. I can't help myself, I have to take every edge. I play the game on hard difficulty settings normally. For the base game, I used to play it exclusively on Impossible. I thought I was pretty good at the game. And then Caster of Magic came out, and the AIs are way smarter in the DLC, let me tell you. I'm not 100% sure. The AIs might be smarter in the community patch as well. Okay, here's something important I wanted to note when I built this city here. So it just finished being made. It's successfully founded. So you can see, there's the gold mine. If I have it building houses, we're gaining... every 1,000 population gives you one guy. So we're gaining 150 a turn. If I start building something else, you can see it went down to 100. When founding a new city, it's usually good to just let the housing build. But something else you might have already noticed. 1/2. What is that? These two tiles are being split between these two cities. So this city is cutting in to my capital. This is reducing its maximum population a little bit, effectively. Cutting into its bonuses. So when placing cities, it's usually better to space them a tiny bit more, but this had a high max population with the river and everything, and I was happy with it. If I had moved up a tile, I'd have ended up with a lot of mountain. Alright. So... should probably get into other spells soon. We have a lot of different kinds to show. Alright. I can make Javeliniers, and I love these guys. Look at them. They're every bit as good as the Halberdiers. Except they have a ranged attack. They're great. They're good at ranged. They're good at melee. They have twice the maintenance cost and take twice as long to train, but they're worth it. Even their resistance is higher. Although it's not that great, honestly. So, let's go ahead and make a couple of these bad boys. And then we can Getting some fights. Now, normally I'd keep exploring, but this is easy mode. We know where the only opponent is. We know where he lives. We can walk across water. On easy mode, it's not about beating the game. You can easily beat the game. Easy mode is for exploring the different spells and abilities and just figuring stuff out. The higher difficulty settings, though. Oh my gosh. Alright, I'm going to take Starfires. Okay. Population of 2. I should get this city building all kinds of things now. Really. We'll use our cash. Okay, Rakir gained a level. So, we're going to talk about levels and heroes here. So, these circles are your level. You can see he's got 1 circle under him. So he's level... Let's just call this level 1. When you have no circles, we'll just call that level 0. They call it things like Myrmidon and regular, but whatever, okay? Level 1, these guys over here, they're level 2. You gain 1 experience a turn, and a lot more in combat. So, we made a Javelin. We'll make a Shaman, too. It's good to have a medic. The DLC Shaman can actually cast the healing spell. But in the base game, they just increase your healing speed a little out of battle. Okay. We're gonna go... Now you'll notice that this doesn't allow anything. That's because neither of these buildings do anything by themselves. But when we combine the two, we'll get something special. So let's start with the stables. I know they show a horse, but take my word for it, lizard men do not ride horses. Oh no, we ride something altogether more special. Alright. You can see the tree a little bit more clearly now for our movement type. There are a lot of different movement types. Before we go in here, I'm going to cast a couple of spells. First, I'm going to cast Heroism. It says it makes the unit elite. What that means is it makes the unit level 3. If you have the Warlord trait, you get an extra level on all your men, so it actually brings you up to 4. Okay, here we have an interesting spell-casting hero. He's happens to have gotten... So these traits are random. They roll randomly to a large extent. So this guy gets extra defense. He's lucky, which is a little bit harder to explain. So... when it says it increases your attack and defense, it doesn't mean your attack and your defense. It says your rolls, right? It means this +1 to hit and +1 to defense up here. So calling it the attack roll makes it sound kind of like a D&D thing, and it sort of is. But basically, this has to do with accuracy, and let's just call this accuracy and evasion. The luck is making him more accurate and more dodgy. Now here's all the different movement types, if you were wondering. There's a lot of movement types, and they all do different things. But anyway, I will definitely hire this guy, even though he wants $4 a day. He's expensive. Alright, watch this. So you saw he only had 5 MP? Well, now that we forced him up to a much higher level, look at his stats now. 20 casting skill. That agility triggers an extra defense every single level. It's a very good trait. You can see he got a +1 to his accuracy just from leveling up. So heroism has to be maintained, the spell. So you can see it costs, and his maintenance just increased by 2 mana crystals every turn just to maintain that heroism on him. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and get heroism on the other guy. You may have also noticed, although his rank reads Commander, he actually only has 2 experience points. The heroism spell doesn't actually give you experience. If it gets dispelled or you can't maintain it, he'll immediately go back to what his real level is. The heroism spell is just putting him in the level without the actual experience, basically. Alright. You can tell how fast I've sped up the emulator because these buildings are moving quickly. Normally, the animations wouldn't be this hyper, but we've pushed the emulation up so everything's super fast. That's what everyone does. Okay, now that we have the stable, you can see the armory will give us dragon turtles. This is the Lizardmen's ace in the hole. This is their ultimate unit. Boy, we have a rebel problem. So let's go ahead and finish our second heroism. You can cast heroism on any unit, not just heroes. It's just that heroes tend to respond especially well to it, so we're just putting it on them. But it would also be worthwhile to give it to a javelin. You can see, I should also mention, this would be your stats at level 0. So you notice, for example, we're looking at 4, 3, 4. Whereas this guy at level 1, you can see now it's 5, 4, 4. He's got that extra attack and that extra range damage. So I accidentally didn't mean to. Alright. Let's go ahead and attack some zombies. So I have 26 casting skill and 136 magical money to spend. So I can go ahead and cast any number of terrible things. So Starfire's is interesting because it only hurts chaos and death creatures, and hey look, it's a zombie. It hurt him a little bit. Honestly, Starfire's is one of the worst spells in the game. So, I can also have the hero cast a spell. The hero has 20 casting skill, and he has his own MP. If he casts the spell, it won't spend my mana crystals. So we're gonna look at him and we're gonna be like, how about if you fling a firebolt? Alright. Now this hero, he has the ability to shoot. He could cast a spell, but that would use up all of his power. If he wants to shoot the enemy, it's gonna use like 3 MP a shot. See that? He just used up 3 MP to shoot. He can keep shooting as long as he has MP. So casting spells with heroes, you have to think about it, whether or not you want to do it, or you want to just keep slinging fire. And finally, the Javelineers. You'll notice that these guys have actual ammo. So this guy's got 6 shots. This guy's got 3 left. Alright. So that wasn't too hard. A single zombie. That's easy mode being gentle with us. Let's see if we can find something with more sharp edges. Werewolves. 2 werewolves. gonna choose a fire elemental this time. So werewolves have very low defense, but they regenerate. They'll literally be healing every turn until you destroy them all. And if you don't destroy everything, all the dead werewolves will come back. They'll all regenerate. So you have to kill everything to get rid of regenerating units. Worse, look at this list of abilities. They're immune to cold. They're immune to poison. They're immune to illusions. That's bad for sorcerers. They're immune to death. Never really understood why werewolves have that, but whatever. Every death creature just gets that. And this one is particularly bad for us. You see, magic weapons can cut through weapon immunity, but lizard men are not capable of making magic weapons, not in the base game at least. So, their weapons are not going to hurt the werewolves. Now this is a magical attack. This should hurt. We're just going to go with lots of fire. Heroes should be able to hurt them. And we're going to fling this. Werewolves are tough, man. Look at this. Okay. Now, do you see how there's less and less of them as they get hurt? This is a very important mechanic that's easy to overlook. So, there are 6 guys in this unit of javelins. That means that they're actually making 6 attacks. They roll 6 attack rolls, each with 4. Unfortunately, this guy's immune to them, but this guy over here is going to roll 4 attack rolls, each for 3 damage. Hit. As there's less and less people because they're getting wounded, that'll be less and less guys attacking. That's a big deal. Heroes tend to have higher stats, but there's only 1 guy. So it's not uncommon for a unit of javelineers to do more damage than a hero, for example. But then again, when you start getting artifacts and stuff, heroes can become ridiculously powerful. I have no reason not to throw the javelins out. Ooh, now that's a high-end spell. And we found a sword. Oh, what a piece of garbage. This is a terrible sword. There you go, Rakir. You have +1 attack. So, that's nice. More importantly, we gained XP and we got a very good spell. This one is ridiculous. So this gives you weapon immunity. And then on top of the weapon immunity, it reduces all incoming damage. That's nice. That's really nice. If I put Holy Weapon on my Javelineers, they'll be able to cut through weapon immunity, as well as getting an accuracy bonus. This is a good spell. Alright, we gotta show off more spells here. Let's see. Demons. I guess I'm gonna knock out these skeletons on the way to Mount Doom over there. I'm gonna use my summoning circle kind of unnecessarily just to show it off. Of course you want it! Okay, he's offering me a trade. He wants to trade healing is the only thing he has to offer me for one of the most powerful enchantments in the game. I would be a lunatic to give my rival invulnerability. Okay, so summoning circle. By default, it's in your capital. But by casting this, I can put it in any city I own. So we'll put it in our city over here. There it is. Poof. You only have one summoning circle. So we've moved it over there. Now if we summon something, it's going to appear here. Alright. Skeletons. They have missile immunity. So they're immune to bows, javelins, and slings. But they'll still be hurt by magical attacks, boulders from catapults, and spells and stuff. So javelins can't hurt them. Yeah, I know, poor javelineers. They're super badass. They're just having a run of bad luck with our opponents. Alright. You can have up to 9 enemies in a single battle. Uh-oh! Oh no! Somebody let himself run out of mana crystals, and it meant that we couldn't maintain our spells. Gee. Now he went and lost his heroism and lost 2 levels. Fortunately, I'm producing 5 mana crystals a turn, so I only lost the most recent spell that I cast. But you see, we're spending 26 mana a turn working on this guardian spirit. So it quickly ate up all my MP, and then we were only producing 5 and we needed 6 because of that heroism. So now he's stuck at a lower level, right on the cusp of his big battle. Never let yourself run out of mana crystals, man. Personally, I suspect that they had at one point intended to make mummies a summonable unit. But that would have been boring and stupid, and a guardian spirit is a way more interesting unit. So, this is the only summon that life mages get in the common, and it's terribly useless. I mean, it looks all badass right now, and you're like, oh, it gives all the units in the battlefield with it resistance to all 1. But they cost $80 a piece, and they're just inferior to all the other common summons in combat. But you see, they have a special ability. So, magic spirits and guardian spirits are the only creatures in the game that can meld with a node. And the guardian spirit is better at it. Uh-oh, they only mentioned a fire elemental. No one said anything about hellhounds. Yeah, that's gonna happen a lot. It's worse when there's invisible units, because it doesn't tell you about the invisible units and they can be much stronger. Usually it just tells you about the strongest unit you can see. So, I'm going to try to cast Bless, because that gives me bonuses against chaos and death, and we're fighting chaos. Oops! The chaos node counters my Bless spell. That's right. The nodes dispels all non-chaos spells. So, worse. The node is also making all chaos creatures stronger. At least it's supposed to. Maybe in easy mode they don't do that. It should be making all chaos creatures stronger anyway. Alright, well if it's gonna counter non-chaos spells, what do? We cast chaos spells. These guys have fire breath. This thing has, well, fire immunity, so it won't throw fire at him. Oh no, I can't petrify fire. I can't poison a fireball. Not that I was trying to do those things anyway. I'm just gonna shoot them. Okay, the closer the enemy gets, the more likely we are to hit it with our ranged attacks. You saw before I didn't even do anything. This time, we just tore him up because he was closer to the Javelineer. Yeah, it's hard to throw a javelin a mile, but it's pretty easy to throw a javelin at somebody right in front of you. There are some units, like catapults, that have long range, that are good at shooting things far away. Javelineers obviously aren't one of those. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to up my mana production so we don't make the same terrible mistake again. Let me see if there are any other mistakes I can make here. Common mistakes. I could attack things that are way stronger than I am and lose everything. That's a mistake you'll make many times until you learn the relative power levels of creatures. Then units. Okay. So I talked about this in the tutorial. We move on to the node and we meld. And this will increase my power base. Poof. Look at that. That's huge. So when we chose that 1.5 on magic power, that had to do with how good the nodes are. Now, of course, we'll want to guard the node. One shaman isn't much, but it's something. That'll prevent Horus from sneaking a magic spirit over here and melding it from me. I don't... On the harder difficulty settings, I wouldn't be able to leave cities undefended like this. I've been incredibly sloppy, by the way. So it shouldn't be hard for you to play better than I'm playing. Alright, let's get to the big guns. Dragon turtles. So, look at the power discrepancy. Now I know what you're thinking, but there's 6 guys, each stabbing at 4, and this is one thing only striking at a 10. Aren't the Javelineers better? So, yes and no. You see, the Javelineers, it's possible they could do more damage, but those swords have to bite through the opponent's armor. This thing is more likely to bite through the opponent's armor. But more importantly, when the Javelineer gets into a fight and a couple of them get knocked off, they're only stabbing 4 times, whereas the Dragon Turtle, he hits just as hard to his last breath. Seriously, he'll fight at 1 hit point, he'll be just as deadly as when he's at his max. He also has Flaming Breath, and we haven't talked about breath weapons yet, but we will soon. So, the Dragon Turtle is actually stronger, and you'll notice he has the same maintenance cost, which is nice. It doesn't take that much longer to build, but he has 2 movement. I actually personally prefer the Javelineer, but that's because I like to cast spells like Flame Blade and stuff that increase attack power. If I had a spell that gave 2 attack, that would be 6 people with an extra 2 attack. But on this guy, it would just be +2 attack. So I really like spells like Lionheart, Flame Blade, anything that I can add swords. And actually, Flame Blade and Lionheart give them more bows too. Their javelin, their ranged attack gets better too. I'm also just a huge fan of ranged attacks in general. So anyway, let's make some Dragon Turtles. They're big, they're stompy, they're gonna kick some butt. This guy isn't gonna know what hit him. He's suddenly begging for a Wizard's Pact. Alright. We'll make all the mistakes here. So a Wizard's Pact is gonna make him friendlier and friendlier and may lead to an alliance. A Wizard Pact says you're not allowed to come near his cities. he can still come near your cities because it's not freaking fair, but you're not allowed to go near his cities, and he'll become friendlier and friendlier, and he won't attack you. As long as the pact is in play, he will not attack you. He'll have to break it. He'll have to tell you he breaks it, and I think he has to wait a turn on top of that. I think. I'm gonna try to up my spell skill. We've researched enough. We don't need any more spells. We know everything there is to know. He's begging for my good spell again. Alright. So we actually have a lot of diplomatic options. I haven't gotten into this. You can propose treaties. You can break treaties, declare or threaten him and hope he gives you something. You can give him money or spells. Oh my gosh, I have a ton of spells he doesn't have. Let's try to trade. I want... he's like, he's not interested in anything that I have except invulnerability. Here, have starfires. Did you see that those got a little bit brighter? I know it's subtle. The color of the eyes relates to how much he likes you. So, you know, that's another thing to track. So, I'm just gonna leave these guys in my capital henceforth. We're just gonna make a bunch of dragon turtles and win the game. I don't think there's much else I need to talk... Oh, there's a few things. Alright, let's cast Wall of Fire. I needed to show a city enchantment. And Wall of Fire is a particularly dramatic one. Anyone that tries to walk over this Wall of Fire is going to get burned. Anyone that tries to attack through the Wall of Fire is going to get burned. If we couple that with regular plain Jane stone walls... I stopped your research. Need more food. Okay, at this point, assuming that I have people on the other side of the wall defending, they would have to come up to the gates and attack into the city and get burned every single time they tried to attack. It's a pretty nice combination, just stone walls, and think of it as a moat of fire, if you like. Alright, let's make our turtles. Gotta keep making the food. No! He really wants that spell. It's a good spell. It's one of the best. Unfortunately, my farmers are only producing one food apiece because we got too much desert here. If I had an animist guild or something, it might help. I'm just gonna put them on trade goods. They're just gonna make money for me now. So you can see, there it is, more money. Is 3 dragon turtles enough? I don't know. But you can see that one level did reflect fire breath. Let's see. Let's make them stronger. Oh yeah, corruption. Your coal is corrupted. This tile does nothing now. It gives them no production. This lowers their maximum population because I just corrupted a tile that was giving them some. See, this is what a hill normally does. Half of food and +3 production. Now it does nothing. Even the coal mine is useless. They have to get Shaman. Specifically Shaman have the ability to purify corrupted tiles. So, if somebody's using corruption, usually make several Shaman and just fix it. Clean it up. Alright. So we're gonna make our dragon turtles invulnerable. This costs a lot. 200 mana, 5 mana turn. Now the 40 is to cast it in combat. I'll show that shortly. We're just gonna put everything into mana now. We're just gonna put everything into mana now. I'm surprised he didn't complain about that. Oh! Surprised he didn't complain about the corruption. But the moment my turtles came near his city, he immediately called me up and was like, "Hey, hey, what are you doing? Hey!" He does not like that. That's violating our little pact. Okay, yes. Water walking does mean that we move faster over river tiles than normal units. That's good. Let's pick a fight with a horde of fire elementals. So, I can talk about a couple more things. I didn't show this off before, but I can cast Invulnerability, Holy Weapon, and the like in battle. So, I'm thinking... I'm gonna cast Holy Weapon on this guy. It will only last until the end of the battle. The invulnerability I put on him is permanent until dispelled. The Holy Weapon that I just cast now will only last for the duration of this fight, and then it goes away. So, I'm then gonna give him an Eldritch Weapon, which is another enchantment to make him even scarier. Now, unfortunately, these things are immune to fire, which means that my fire breath will do nothing to them. But we're still got 11 swords, and we're invulnerable, and so on and so forth. I don't think that they can hurt the turtle. Oh, wait, no, they're hurting the turtle. Oh, no. Poor Yertle. Through the invulnerability, they're hurting him. Ooh. We might have to come save his butt. No, we're okay. Oh, hey, a bow. Wow, that's pretty good. But I don't have anyone who can use a bow. So I'm going to take it to this anvil over here, and I'm going to destroy it and get 500 mana crystals. Very nice. I wonder, let me check my apprentice and look at the spells I have for learning. Some good stuff, but not enchant item. Kind of feel like I should talk about enchanting items. We've got a cartographer. We've got a historian. Unfortunately, the graphs look kind of flat. Normally, they look a lot more interesting, but normally there's like 4 other wizards in place, so, you know. Chancellor, I don't really like him, but, he'll just kind of tell you what's happened most recently. You know about the tax cuts? The Grand Vizier will choose all the buildings that your cities make if you turn him on. So he just decided this city's building a shrine. I guess he didn't touch that one. And you can see the little asterisk to show he's on. Alright. Heroism. Check this out. Now his fire breath's up to 7, and he's even beefier. Unfortunately, he needs some time to heal. So if you say patrol, it will actually turn the unit off. The unit will basically go to sleep. So I'm looking for enchant item, and I get to talk about arcane spells when that comes up. You can see he's just sitting there sleeping until I decide to wake him up. Nope. Uh-oh. He put a city here, and now he's complaining I'm violating his borders. I hate when they do that. Other wizards can be such jerks. Alright. You can see his cities are growing. He's spreading and growing while I'm just passing turns looking for something. I love Flame Blade. Where is it? It's okay. No rush. You can just pass some time. I have 2 cities. He has 5. One of which is Mithril. Oh, he's melted a node, has he? I should have chosen Artificer. No, I don't need any more heroes, thanks. We're good. We're passing a lot of turns right now. Crap, I really want to talk about crafting items, and it's not showing up. So, Arcane... So there's actually one more school of magic that I didn't talk about in the tutorial video. And that is Arcane. So, the Chaos spells have this red. The Life spells have these white onks. But you'll notice some spells have this circle. These are Arcane spells. You get Arcane spells every game no matter what. There's never a game where you don't have all the Arcane spells. There's only a few of them. They include Summoning Circle. They include Detect Magic, Magic Spirit. They're basically the basics. A very basic Dispel. Summoning Heroes. And enchanting items, although that is... Oh, hey, he wants a full-on alliance. Okay, now I'm allowed to walk around his lands. Now we're best buddies forever! Or at least until I betray him horribly. So... Oh, there it is, there it is. This is what we were looking for. Okay. So enchant item is a pretty awesome deal. I'm probably not going to be able to break him with 3 turtles anymore. We're probably going to have to build an army now. I might have to just... I can't... As Lizardman, I can't build a boat, so I have no way to get my heroes over here. Oh yeah, sure, I'll give you Dispel. Alright, there it is. Alright, let's learn how to make Doom Bats. We'll learn one more spell, and we'll make a bunch of Doom Bats. So Resurrection is specifically for bringing heroes back from the dead. It's one of the reasons why life is so good for heroes. Alright. Let's enchant an item. So there's enchant item, and there's a more powerful one called Create Artifact you can get later in the game. So when you enchant an item, you can give it different abilities depending on what type of item it is. Boy, this is really stripped down. Create Artifact has way more options. Alright, here's a few things. Depending on what books you have is what special abilities will appear. Since I have 4 life books, I have the possibility of Bless or Endurance on an item. Create Artifact will give you way more options. The Chaos books should give me the option of Flaming Swords, for example. Nature can get you regeneration. Oh, Sorcery has some of the best ones with haste, invisibility, and stuff like that on your artifacts. So, some of these have special abilities that they don't list. For example, if you have a hero with thrown weapons, we haven't talked about thrown or breath weapons, we'll get to that in a moment. But if you have somebody, a hero like Gunther or the Amazon, what's her name, they will add the attack bonus of an axe to their thrown weapon. That's kind of like a secret that you have to notice. Shields give you the large shield ability that swordsmen have that protect you from ranged attacks. Whereas plate mail just straight up give you 2 points of defense. You'll notice that they're more expensive to enchant by default. That's because there's a hidden +2 defense on them already just for being plate mail. So you can only put 4 powers on any one item. It's possible to find items with 5. Sorry, the camera. I'm a little too close. But you'll only ever be able to make them with 4. That's just the limit. There's no way around it. At least none that I've ever found. So, you know, you can make all kinds of cool things. You can make rings of invisibility if you so please. They glow the color of the magic you're putting on them. So if I bless it, it glows white. Anyway, I'm not sure what bug just occurred there. So if it costs 300, then it costs 300, and given my level of casting skill, it would take 6 turns to make. Anyway, we're going to, I just wanted to show crafting items because I consider them to be pretty awesome. Alright, so let's speak a little about breath weapons. Thrown weapons and breath weapons, they're basically the same. You don't need to worry too much about the distinguishing characteristics of them. There's also, there's not just fire breath, but other breath weapons as well. So, breath weapons are basically a kind of first strike. Before the enemy before you actually start fighting with swords and shields, the breath weapon immediately hits and does its damage first. So that might kill a few of their guys and mean that there's less things to actually hit you. On top of that, a breath weapon gives you the ability to attack a flying unit. Normally, you can't attack a flying unit unless you have a flying unit, or it flies down to attack you. But with a breath weapon, you're actually allowed to attack flyers. And that's kind of a big deal. It's kind of a big deal. Did I mention what made the Guardian Spirit better than the regular one? I don't think I did. So the difference between the two is basically the Guardian Spirit acts like a goalie. If you use a magic spirit, anybody can come along and meld the node. If you have a Guardian Spirit in there, there's a 75% chance that they'll fail to take it away from you. In the DLC, the Guardian Spirit also gives you extra casting. It gives you extra power, but we're not playing the DLCs, so, you know. Still, it's nice. Even if they kill this guy, it might take them... They could get it the first try, or they could try over and over again and just keep failing to meld. 75% chance that they'll fail every time. It's pretty nice. Alright, let's get ourselves some bats. This is a very scary summon that we're gonna make. So, you might be thinking, oh, it's just a bat? How dangerous can it be, really? Oh, you don't know these things, man. These aren't just normal bats. These things are huge. We're gonna summon a bunch of them. 8 maintenance cost a piece. Oh yeah, sure. Show a tiny bat in the summon animation. So, they're on fire. They're doing fire damage to anything that touches them. On top of having an incredibly high speed of 4. Their defense is kind of low, but they're pretty scary. And they're really wicked fast. That's the thing that sets them apart. In the DLC, they're even faster. In the DLC, they're even faster, and they deal doom damage, which is a type of damage that it ignores all forms of armor and protection. It's nice trading spells. Oops. Oh, nope. Nope. Another low-end hero. Not particularly interested in heroes. Like I said earlier, I'm not able to make boats, which is unfortunate. That's another thing the DLC adds, is lizardmen have a special boat for themselves. Oh yeah, sure, I'll take True Light. Lizardmen have a special boat. They can use it to move around the map much faster. It's pretty nice. Oh, I know what I did. Whoa! What was that about? He suddenly finds that this alliance is not giving me... I forgot to keep summoning. Whoops! Oh, we're making mistakes, alright. Why would he suddenly no longer want this alliance? Because his military is 3 times what mine is. And he's thinking, hey, I could just kinda crush ya. He's thinking about it. Ah, look at how far ahead he's gotten. With all those turns of us sitting around doing nothing, he's been building up. Let's go take a look at what's in his capital. Maintaining relations with such an amateur is no longer convenient. I'm mobilizing my troops and preparing for... He's giving me fair warning. They don't always give you warning, but he's lawful, so he's being fair about this. So we're looking at his capital. It's full of berserkers, good heroes, and some snake people, which is a low-end summon. Considering that I'm summoning Doom Bats, I think the age of Naga are well and truly over at this point. So, bad things might happen to my turtles over here in a second. But really bad things are gonna happen to him. So let's see. Can you handle my turtle? Oh no! Well, he didn't dispel invulnerability at least. Unfortunately, combat spells are very easy to dispel. Permanent spells are at least a little bit harder. So I mentioned First Strike, plus they're barbarians, they get thrown weapons on top of that. So these jerks, barbarian cavalry, right up to you, they throw an axe at you, and then they hit you before you get a chance to hit back. That's pretty scary if you're a bunch of swordsmen or something. Against a dragon turtle, though, it's not such a big deal. you're not going to be able to kill any figures on this thing. You have to either kill the whole. If they manage to kill the dragon turtle, finish one off though, the dragon turtle doesn't get to hit back then. So there is that. All right. Oh, these are spearmen. These aren't berserkers. Oh, this is nothing. You underestimated the power of dragon turtles. I'm actually going to push auto battle. Nice. Alright. So, we have some nasty surprises in store for him. Let's make 2 more bats. I'm just gonna turn everything into mana crystals. He has no forces on my continent. His Nagas could cross the water. They can do that. He could build boats. There's a boat. But it's on the wrong continent. And it doesn't have any troops in it. Since this is easy mode, he's not gonna... I keep mentioning that when you play the normal game, you wouldn't be able to get away with the kind of nonsense you've been seeing from me, passing 100 turns looking for a spell, not building more than 2 cities. I know what I'm doing is terrible, but I'm just showing you all the stuff here. So next, we're just gonna start spamming invulnerability. At this point, I can't even maintain the, I couldn't put invulnerability on my bats, but I'm gonna put them on the turtles. Now, I wanted to show their warship. They had a scary warship. Oh, hey, there they are. These things, they have unlimited ammo, long range. Look at them! They're monsters. We could run away, and because we're fast, no, we actually might lose some of our bats if we do that. But, if I use warp wood... never mind. Archers lose the ability to shoot, but I guess warships are built of sterner stuff. Alright, fine. We'll try Shatter. It failed. Yeah. In the Caster of Magic DLC, the bats are so fast they can actually attack on the first turn. They're ridiculous. Even here, they're pretty scary. Alright, he put up counter magic. If I try to cast spells through it, it's gonna have a high chance of countering them. Warships are tough though. Really tough. One of my favorite strategies is to go sorcery and make flying warships. They can go over land and sea, and there's almost nothing in the game that can handle a warship. They're really tough. The DLC actually majorly tones them down. Because they're so ridiculous. You can also use Wraith form. I believe you can use Wraith form to get warships to just kind of sail through the ground. I think. Anyway, as terrifyingly powerful as they weren't enough to handle 6 Doom Bats. So now would be a good time to heal. Unfortunately, I am not able to produce enough mana to keep up with my spending. I want to invulnerable all the bats if I could. It's okay. Our out of control spending was for good cause. Let's get one more invulnerability and put it on the most wounded bat. I wish I had a medic. They're healing so slowly. They'll heal faster inside of cities, by the way. Particularly if you build things like animus guilds and other structures. Oh, I can't see who's the most hurt like this. Oh well, let's just hope it's the first one. Yeah, it was. Okay. So this is his capital. And we're gonna hit it. Oh, he starts with a counter magic. Good move. Good move, that. I want to go with healing. Okay. We might be able to get a healing through. Also, counter magic tends to... Let's see... Yes. Counter magic slowly gets worn out. The more spells that I throw at it that it counters, the weaker it gets. So, eventually my spells are going to start getting through. Actually, there's always a chance that you get a spell through it. It's not perfect. Now, this city is filled with berserkers. I might not be able to take this. Berserkers are terrifyingly strong. 6 figures with that much attack power? Plus thrown weapons? Oof. However, I've noticed something. Perhaps you have. Do you notice a difference between these two berserkers? This guy has normal weapons. This guy, his weapons are magical. He's also got some enchantments. So, specifically, the most important thing to know about this is invulnerability, as I mentioned before, gives me weapon immunity. Only magical weapons can hurt me. Actually, that's not entirely true. Berserkers are so psycho crazy, they can hurt you with regular weapons. They will do less damage, but they can still hurt you. They even get the weapon immunity somewhat. And that's just because of sheer raw attack power. They're just hitting so hard, some of it is getting through. Let's see, we've got an assassin. And we've got a ranger with a dragon slayer and a chainmail of resistance. Look at this beast. Alright. I don't want to play fair. We're flying so we can attack over the walls, but I'm gonna do one better. I could actually blast a hole in the walls, but no. It's not counter magic. Alright, the turtles. They're gonna have to try to wrestle at the gates. I think this assassin isn't as dangerous as the berserkers, so I'm gonna try to take him out. Meanwhile, because the bats do not play fair, well, at least I don't play fair. We're gonna come in the back. We're inside the walls. Oh my gosh, berserkers are nasty. Ugh. His counter magic is very potent. He must have sunk a lot of power into it. Yep, the invincible turtles broke through. Oh, you're flanked now. Oh, now I mentioned because of their thrown weapons, like breath weapons, they're able to attack a flying unit. Woohoo. Alright. Please let me get healing through. Finally. That's the last of my power. So, we've so far lost a couple of bats, but their defenses are faltering. Now, the more our units hang out inside the city, the more damage will happen to the city. Broken buildings, civilians dying, that kind of thing. See, this guy's got Guardian Wind on. I'm not using Javelineers, so I don't care. Guardian Wind protects you from arrows. Uh-oh. Ouch, ouch, let's back up. Alright, his hero's down. Whew. 7,000 inhabitants, 2 broken buildings. We get the artifacts from his heroes. Now, teleporting them back to where my heroes are costs 20 mana crystals, but I'm going to show you a small cheat. You can always put them in your vault for free. Your vault is in your capital, and since these heroes are in my capital right now, it's no longer a teleport. Ha 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 ha! I saved 40 mana crystals. Zap! What'd you get for declaring war on me? Ah, he didn't know any spells that I didn't know. Otherwise, you could steal a couple of spells. Ah, crap. Easy mode is going too easy on us. Alright, so I gotta point out a couple last things. Normally, when you banish somebody, they start casting the spell of return. So they're banished, they're not able to cast spells until they come back. So you have however many turns where they can't cast any spells, and you can run around attacking their cities and causing trouble. And then they actually come back, and they declare a new city as their capital and stuff. That didn't happen this time, obviously. You can kind of see the scoring system here. I would have pointed out a little bit more about, anyway, you know what? It's fine. The tutorial gave you all you needed to know to get started, and I think I've shown plenty. I have a ton of videos of me playing Master of Magic. If you want to see me playing the classic game, I would recommend, I'll put a link up here. There we go. Yeah, like that. The Worst Wizard Ever, where I played the worst possible combination of spellbooks and abilities theoretically possible. And otherwise, I got a ton of me playing the DLC for the last few years as it was developing as a mod. And until next time and every time, this is Hadrix signing off. Bye.